Welcome to WoW You Should Know This. I'm Jordan, I'm joined by Connor, and we're going to be talking about WoW-related news that happened this past week. And the biggest thing that happened this past week is the Warlords of Draenor expansion entered into beta. If you're lucky enough to get in, there was a no NDA as expressed by Blizzard, which means that you can basically put anything you want up as far as media goes, and they won't come after you about it. And I think that's primarily who got invited to this first beta. But if you're not already, you can go on to your profile on your WoW account and opt in for the beta, and hopefully you get in sooner than later.
Right. Now, I know we have done that, but there are other options that you can do to get into the beta. Wowhead is actually holding a contest right now where they're giving 2,000 beta keys out to players over a 6-week period. So each week they'll have a different set of achievements, and if one of your characters has those achievements, you can link that profile and enter in for your chance to win as well. So I hate actually sharing that because now there's going to be more contestants, but go out, try and win. If you do and you didn't want the beta key, you can always give it to Connor.
I don't know if you can't do that, actually.
You can do that.
No, you can't.
You can do that.
Yeah, and keeping along with Warlords of Draenor news, the Human Male Artcraft article was released this week, kind of giving a preliminary human male revamp of what they're going to look like. I think a lot of people have really been looking forward to this because there's been so much expressed concern with the way that, the features on the male look. It all seems off, and the proportions are a little strange. So they wanted to focus on keeping the same silhouette and just kind of tweak how they look and the features within. And I think that they did a pretty good job. I'm happy with the way the male humans look according to this article. Again, it's all preliminary. Some certain facial expressions and some certain angles, they look kind of dopey, but I mean, more often than not, I think that they look pretty cool. So
yeah. Now, moving on from Draenor stuff, we can focus on what's happening now. And there wasn't too much this past week. The Deserter debuff got an update. So previously, the 20-minute debuff has now been moved down to 5 minutes at your first offense. So if you do something stupid and leave a dungeon or get booted out of one, well, I guess not booted, you'll have a shorter wait time, but each time you leave a dungeon or battleground after that, your debuff will kind of keep stacking up. So first offense isn't as bad, but after 4, you're back to that 20-minute debuff. So you probably won't notice too much of a change on your regular dungeons. However, they're going harder on players queuing up for arenas or rated battlegrounds. Now, even if you just miss your queue to enter, you're going to get a debuff. So if you walk away to get a glass of water or go use the restroom and you miss that queue, debuff time. So you're going to really have to glue yourself to your seat in this new world of Deserter debuffs.
now, unless the arena queue has gone down significantly since the last time I've done arenas, that's pretty annoying.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
I don't know why you'd want to penalize people for, not being able to sit in front of their computer for 45 minutes straight.
Right.
Something else I wanted to show you guys, or at least talk to you, Connor, about this week is a post on the forums, kind of similar to having this debuff conversation that you just talked about. The original poster was expressing frustration with continually getting kicked out of dungeons and then having a debuff, so they have to wait to re-queue. I personally haven't gotten kicked out of a dungeon. I guess in my recent memory, I can't think of a single time. But I kind of agree with what they're saying of there shouldn't be... First of all, the players in your party shouldn't have that much power. And then, on top of that, you shouldn't get a debuff associated with being kicked from a party. What do you think?
I am actually going to go on the other side of the fence as you. I think that players need, and I love when they introduce this kicking mechanism into randoms, because you don't know who you're going to get, and if someone's being a troll and are purposely trying to ruin your night and ruin your dungeon, before kicking there's nothing you could do but leave, and that just penalized the good players. And so the kick feature allowed us to finally fight back against the evil trolls. And while, yes, the debuff penalty is maybe adding insult to injury, if you are that troll player, let's say you're queuing up as tank, you can get right back into another dungeon. And so the debuff prevents that and actually does punish you for doing something bad enough to get kicked out of a dungeon in the first place.
I want to first say I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying the original poster made this point. My only fear with this, and I've seen this happen quite a few times, is that what happens is that there becomes this kind of elitist environment where if you don't live up to a certain expectation, if you're too new of a player that doesn't have kind of the inside knowledge, you get kicked just for, they think, oh, well, a DPS, I can kick you and then I'll find somebody faster that will do more damage and we'll get through this quicker. I hate that feeling, and I know that most of the time it's the people that go AFK or it's the people that, just have obscene language, but I think that, as a byproduct of the current system, there are people that are just trying to learn the game, and they get these parties of people who don't want to put up with them, so they just kick them rather than teach them.
Sure, but I mean, you and I have played for years, and neither of us have ever been booted. And you mentioned that players are trying to learn the game, and when you're trying to learn the game, you don't subject random people who are playing the game to your education. That's when you look for guild, you look for friends, people to help you through. You don't look to random strangers queuing up for a fast run.
I would argue that the reason why you know how to do that is because you know enough about the game. And to your point earlier is, I think that when we went through and we were learning the game, there was a much bigger sense of community because there wasn't the dungeon finder. You literally had to go out to a town or a main city and find your party and physically put them together. So to just kick somebody, you had to then go back to the main city. You're way more likely to teach somebody because it was quicker to teach somebody.
Well, that's what guilds are for. I'm gonna boot you out of this conversation and move on.
No.
So those are all the topics we have for this week. Thanks for watching WoW, You Should Know This, and we will be back next Monday. I'm Connor, that's Jordan. Have a great night.